Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Katie and today I have collaborated with Darkest Raven Designs to create this dragon. Now obviously this is a two-parter and I do encourage you to go over to Darkest Raven Designs. I'll leave a link in the description below. Please check out her channel because she sculpts and crafts the most amazing things, and a little while ago I did a sketch of a dragon and she very kindly asked if she could make a sculpt of it. I decided that we could do one better than that and I could design one for her to create. Now I had a go at making a dragon myself out of polymer clay, and I'll leave a link to that video also in the description, and you'll see why I'm no good at sculpting. Let's put it this way, the dragon's head fell off. I'm not very good at sort of conceptualising how a design from 2D can go into 3D. However, Chantel from Darkest Raven Designs, she knows her stuff. So by all means check out her channel for a much better sculpted and more physically possible version of one of my dragons. Anyway, let's talk about this guy. So the paints I'm using are my favourite kind of poster paints. I didn't want to use Himi for this and I went for the Nika poster colour. Now it's not that I don't like Himi paints, I just like these ones more, and they're expensive so I don't use them very often, but I thought since as this was a collab I'd use my best ones. Now there wasn't a prompt as such, but I did ask Chantel if she could send me some images of some items she could use in the sculpt, and some of those were a bottle, a selection of bottles, and an hourglass was included. There were also some keys, but I couldn't quite figure out how I could attach that to this picture. Now with my track record of dragons' heads falling off sculptures, I totally understood when Chantel mentioned that this probably wouldn't physically be possible, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm just really happy that she wanted to sculpt one of my dragons. So I haven't seen the finished result either, so I am really looking forward to that, and that should be published at the same time as this. So of course, when there is a dragon, there's usually a story, and I thought I would add another bad story poem to this. So grab your snacks, grab a drink, and brace yourself. An hourglass and 2 bottles share the company of a dragon as the mixing process shall start. A potion is brewing and bubbling and stewing, causing orbs of light to dart. The dragon who's mixing the potion he's fixing is a precise chap whose name is Draught. In the gloom of twilight, but before it's midnight, is the best time to work on his craft. Ingredients ground in a mortar and pestle tip from the small bottle into the larger vessel, whilst keeping an eye on the time. It's hard work for Draught as he must stay awake, because of course an hourglass doesn't chime. There you go, there we have it. There's today's awful poem just to set you up for the weekend. With that being said, let's talk about the painting process here. So a reason I really like these paints is their opacity, and yes, the Himi paints are very opaque, but these are really good. These can be diluted, and I don't normally dilute gouache or poster paints purely because I think it just leaves a horrible streaky mess. Or at least it does when I use them anyway. If I wanted to use them as a watercolour, I'd probably use a watercolour rather than a gouache or poster-based paint. However, these Nika poster paints, they do dilute quite well and they leave a nice even coverage. And I wouldn't use them as a watercolour, however, using them as a base coat before adding thicker layers of paint, it's ideal. Nothing's lost with that. Sometimes because these paints are quite thick, and I do find this with the Himi as well, you can leave, especially if it's a textured paper, you can leave some white marks behind where the paint doesn't quite catch. By using a diluted wash, these paints still maintain vibrant, and if there's any pesky white bits left over, they're not visible because it's all been covered. I also really like how well these layer up as well, and if there's an area where it's got a dark colour underneath, it's not really a massive problem to go over it with a lighter colour. This is quite a dark painting and quite colourful at the same time, and I wanted to have a nice glow coming from that bottle and reflecting on our dragon. And I was able to do that because the white is a really good opaque white, but the other colours involved as well are, well, they're very opaque. They don't need a great deal of white adding to them, and they're not pastel-y or anything like that to begin with. And yeah, I just love these, and these were the perfect paints to use for this project. I really like the colours that I've used on this as well. I checked in with Chantel just to see what colours she would like to use for this sculpture. As the original drawing she'd seen was in black and white, I said, well, you pick a colour and I will make that happen with the dragon. And she mentioned she quite likes really nice rich greens and a hint of purple in there. So they worked together really well. Now, I thought the green and purple would be hard to mix together, so I used the yellow for the glow, and that just seemed to tie everything in really, really nicely. By using the same colour as the yellow glow in the bottle to add some reflection onto the scales, it worked really well, and the yellow blended beautifully into the purple, and obviously they're complementary colours, so that worked out quite nicely. But of course, because yellow was part of green, that also tied it in very nicely as well. It was like creating a gradient with textures and light, I suppose. Now, I suppose you're all wondering where the Himi dragons are at the moment, the Himi horoscope ones. Well, I will be publishing them very soon, and I will be publishing the Virgo dragon on Tuesday, so please make sure you tune in for that. The reasons there's been a bit of a delay is I've had work done on the house, and I've lived in a building site for about a month, and it's just been hard to catch up on big pieces like that. But catching up I will be doing, so please stay tuned. I've really enjoyed creating this design for Darkest Raven Designs, so I really hope you go over to her channel and check out the 3D version of this. Now, if you're new to this channel and you've enjoyed today's picture, why not hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all future videos I put out. And for those of you who are already subscribers, thank you ever so much. I'm so close to hitting 1,000, and I wouldn't be where I am without you, so thank you. Anyway, the signature's added, we are all done, and I just want to say a massive thank you to Chantel at Darkest Raven Designs for collabing with me. And there should be a video and a playlist that should just be right up your alley if you want to watch some more. Anyway, I will see you all very soon. Bye!